We flew into town on the late flight. We made our camp, put our gear together, and headed out for a couple hours before the day ended. You'll notice a pattern when staying at 9 Mile Bridge. Before anyone heads out for a day of fishing, they stop up on the bridge, they look down into the water, and they try to spot some fish. And so, that's what we did too. Last year there was a lot of snow on the trails, and you post-holed almost any direction you went. This year the trails were really fast, which means more time for fishing. It's my goal to get as many fish for my dad as possible on this trip, and so it's a good sign that he's hooked up within the first, I'd say 45 minutes. Fighting steelhead in the Situk is a skill. Gotta put enough pressure on them to keep them out of the logs, but not too much to break the line. We're gonna calibrate over the first couple days for sure. I hook up with a nice fish just before we're about to call it quits. This fish ran my line underneath this log, and I had to reach my rod down and sweep my line out from underneath it before it snapped off. I need a netter. Oh shit. I told my dad when we first started this trip that this was a team sport and that we were going to help each other out land each other's fish. It'll certainly increase our landing percentage, but it'll also limit the risk of breaking a rod. These powerful fish are good at that when you get them up close. We really like this net from Fish Pond. It's a Nomad. It has a ruler along the handle, and so we decided to measure all the fish we caught. We got an early rise the first full day, so that way we could have our choice of which hole we started fishing on first. Whether that mattered or not, it seemed to pay out. Steelhead are always a fun fight. Just when you think you got them in, they'll go on a nice long run, and you might lose them, you might not.
Alright, he's ready to get netted.
I battled this fish for quite some time. It was a really nice fish to start the day with. Look at the tail on this one.
Holy shit. That's a fish and a half.
I was able to pick up 2 from this same spot in a pretty quick turnover. Tail first.
That was the wrong way to do it.
Just like they taught you on the Ruby River. Time for some hot tea to celebrate our early success. All right, he's broken the ice.
Look how thick he is.
Yeah.
My dad found this really nice spot just below a tree, and he caught a couple in a row right there. So he told me to go up and get a cast in. You can see them stacked up underneath the end of this tree here. There's a lot of spawning occurring about 50 yards upriver, and it seemed like all the sperm and eggs were just collecting along the edge of this tree, and maybe that's why they were there.
Oh, this has got a bright red stripe.
He wasn't kidding about the bright red stripe. Look at the colors on this fish.
Ham and cheese, spicy mustard, very spicy mustard, just as advertised on the bottle. Good.
Got him again.
Gotta like an aggressive fish. He hits it one time, you lose him. You cast it back in there and he hits it again.
There's a chromer.
Fighting this aggressive fish by this down tree was exciting. You never knew if he was going to actually get around something and snap you off. Luckily, I was able to get him out into the open and things turned out all right. Fishing upriver became slow, so we dropped down to my dad's tree where we knew we were going to have good success.
First cast. Fish on again.
One of the most successful tactics to catching steelhead is to fish fresh fish. You're better off taking a 5-minute break and letting the fish rest, and then throwing something by them, than trying to fish the same fish for 20 to 30 minutes that's not biting.
Fish still on? Must be, there he is. Running right at me.
We learned how to fish this spot really well. We also knew exactly where to land the fish too. Not too shallow of water, but not too deep and fast. It made it easy for a net.
Here we go. Good grab.
Look at where we're putting our gear on the bank there. It was a nice place to sit and have a snack or retie a line. In a couple of days, when the rains really pick up, all this will be underwater. I'll show you that in a little while. We learned a lot today, and now it's time to go eat. box of Cheez-Its is so much more than just a box of Cheez-Its when you're camping. Throw it all in a pot and give it some heat. Yep, that'll do. Nothing better than putting some peanut butter on your hot dog. If you haven't tried it, try it. My dad went with the spicy brown mustard instead. One of the most useful piece of camping equipment we have is this cooktop that goes on top of our jet boil. Our friend Matt gave it to us years ago. It's come in handy. The rain wasn't letting up, and in the next couple of days it was only picking up, so we decided to upgrade our tarp.
Tell you what, this is a whole new world under here.
Yeah, it's much better.
What a morale boost it is to come home to a dry tent, a place you can take your waders off out of the rain, hang things up. This was a good idea. Now that camper's upgraded, we headed out for fishing. We saw some Stellar's jays, and my dad doesn't see them very often, so we hung out and watched them a bit.
What are you catching babies now? You catch a rainbow instead of a steelhead?
For those who don't know, all steelhead are rainbows, but not all rainbows are steelhead. A rainbow becomes a steelhead when it travels into the ocean. A fish that goes back and forth between fresh and salt water is called an anadromous fish. Steelhead are anadromous. Rainbows are not. Another anadromous fish in the Situk are coho salmon, also known as silver salmon. These little guys hang out in the brush to look for some protection for about a year until they make it into the ocean. For some strange reason, they really liked my camera. Anytime I dunked my camera in underneath some brush, all these little guys would come out and check it out. As came the rain, and so did the fish.
Double trouble. You're gonna like the colors on mine.
I worked quick to get mine unhooked, so that when I netted my dad's fish, we didn't get our lines tangled.
There we go. Here's the price of one.
Everyone loves a double up. This was a good chance for us to have a discussion on what's the difference between a rainbow and a steelhead, because we had them both in one net. Many fishing regulations in the Pacific Northwest classify the difference by size, because sometimes it's really hard to tell the difference. So a lot of the times you might see anything over 20 inches considered a steelhead. In this case, we know there are some resident rainbows in this water. Not very many, but some. Distinct patterns on their sides tell the difference big time here. The steelhead are in spawning, so all of them have spawning colors. The rainbows were, well, they looked like regular rainbows. There goes our Stellar's Jay friend again. I find myself into some trouble here. I hooked up with a fish between a bunch of these downed trees and, well, The fish knows the route. It's never a good thing when you start seeing your fly line poke out the bottom of the other side of the tree. Just like I expect, fish off. Fishing slowed down throughout the day, but the rain sped up. We're excited for tomorrow. We're going to get in the boat and float the river for the first time. My dad made some casts by the bridge while I was shuttling the van. It was nice to hear when I got back that the day was already a success, and I hadn't even wet a line yet.
Here we go. Alrighty. Wow.
Another quality fish. And we're off. Gonna have to earn it today. Alright, our first fish on the drift. Our plan was to beach the boat every time we caught a fish because we didn't bring an anchor on the flight. It seemed to work out well for this first time. A little happy dance and a kiss and a nice release. It's days like these where you're happy to have a self-bailing boat. Boy, was it cold. It was in the mid-30s and raining like this on us the entire day. Time for some hot drinks and a snack.
I had a feeling about this spot.
We went by some active fish, so I pulled over, made a couple casts, and hooked up immediately. I didn't land this one though.
We're on the Situk, getting pounded by rain all day. We put in around noon. We've been on the river for about 6.5 or so hours. We're starting to get down towards the bottom section, and light is running low. We'll probably have light for maybe another hour or two. So we're gonna start picking up the pace a little bit and pick and choose some holes and get to the launch.
I've been really enjoying my new flycraft boat. It's perfect size for rivers like this and with 2 people and maybe a night or 2 of gear. I customized this seahorse box mounted on the back of the frame. It holds all the stuff that you need to get to throughout the day. It's been very useful.
That looked like a bigger fish. Okay, like over my wader's hole.
My dad was trying to help me out navigate around this fallen limb. Just behind it there was a really deep hole that if I stepped in, I'd be swimming for sure. This was a really fun fish to fight. You're fighting the fish, the weather, and the river all at once.
He might wrap you, he might wrap you. I'm just gonna land him myself without the net over here.
There, got him.
All right. What an adventure.
Okay, there you go.
Much to our surprise, the next morning looked a lot like the last. We decided to mix some things up and hike up from the bottom section. Down here the river is much wider, so having a big cast and a long drift makes it easier to fish. I met some guys on the Kenai this last winter that were fishing a spey rod with an indicator. They called it a spadicator. That's what I'm doing down here. It allows me to get those big casts and long drifts. A break in the rain led to a fish, and boy was I waiting for one. Thank you, Mr. Fish. I swang some flies for about an hour until lunchtime rolled around. After that, we decided to head back up towards camp and maybe fish the afternoon in the upper section. The rain came back in the afternoon. Hooray! I really like using a short, lightweight Skagit head on my single hand rods when I'm fishing under an indicator. Seems like it helps for the cast.
Not going to have a whole lot of drift. It's going to have to happen pretty much immediately or it won't happen at all. Give it a couple goes.
Fun, but not effective. Our spot where we were landing fish the other day has now been covered with water. It's been raining pretty hard and pretty steady for 2 days straight now, and the river's, I'd say, at least a foot above what it was 2 days ago.
There we go. Yeah.
This was our most acrobatic fish by far. It was a real fun fight to watch.
One down. I saw something small. I thought they were dollies down there feeding on mayflies that were hatching down there. That's not a dolly. See, he's bigger than you thought he was.
Mid to high 20s.
We caught some fish with damaged tails. It was always on the top side, just like this one. I'll explain more on that in a couple minutes. Here I come from down below to help net.
Yeah. There's a couple of them in here. This deep pocket right here at the end of this tree. I'm about to take off and I'm going to be in trouble here. I got down to nothing. If he's wrapped around a little bit there. He's wrapped around tight now. No, maybe not. Oh yeah. Got a good netter over there. Oh, that's one way we're gonna go.
It's nice to take your gear off and feel lighter for a little while. Sometimes your indicator will stop moving downriver for just a slight second. That'll indicate a strike, so you always got to be paying attention. Here's a fish with a really damaged dorsal fin. So just like the other one before, where the top of its tail was damaged, these fish have wintered over in the lake. When they swim in the shallows, or up against the bottom of the ice, they scratch their tails and their dorsal fins. They do this enough where it rubs it completely raw.
Before he goes in there, damn it. There we go. Oh, oh. Good job. Good netter. He's got colors.
What an absolute tank.
Good, good.
Feels heavier with all them rocks.
Oh, he's got some tetanus to him, don't he?
Yep.
Holy crap.
Look at that fish. This is fun. Yep. Woo!
Some fish are harder to net than others. This one took us on quite a journey.
All right.
Scarlet red.
The afternoon brought very little rain. The sun even started to pop out from time to time. That was quite nice.
Yeah. Not having a good spot, but whoo, yeah. Good net. About there.
7-ish.
27.
Maybe 28. Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
The river started to drop and things are getting back to normal.
I think he broke off right when you caught him.
The skies cleared up and we got some casts under the moonlight. We're excited for tomorrow because the sun's supposed to be out, it's supposed to be warm, and we're going to put the boat in the water and float the river again. The first day we floated the Situk, it was raining so hard that we didn't really look around and understand what the river looked like. Today we get to see all the sights. There are many log jams like this one up and down the river, where there's almost a boat and a half's width to go through. Fortunately, the river doesn't flow very fast through them, so you get to position yourself and pick the line. It was a really fun day to be on the sticks. It was relaxing, warm, sunny. We're thankful that the guide services keep these log jams open enough for a boat to float through. Apparently the first couple boats out every day are equipped with a chainsaw in case that there's a new tree in the river or a log had floated into one of these log jams and closed the hole. The day turned into more of an adventure than a fishing trip. Though we did catch some fish.
He's cruising. I wasn't 15 feet away from that fish. I had to go over and unhook from a snag, which blew out like 4 fish that are sitting there. And the hole right behind it, which is about 15 feet away, the fish never moved. I just put it down in the water. I watched him come over, open his mouth wide open, take it.
Along with not being line shy, You could spook these fish, and that wouldn't decrease your chances of a bite. Typically, if you are trout fishing and you spook some fish, it might be 30 minutes before that fish bites again. It seemed like these steelhead were more active to bite after being spooked. This is representative of a typical fight. You have a bunch of trees and limbs just downriver of you, and you have to apply what you feel as too much pressure just to keep the fish from going into it.
There we go. Whew. That one put on a good bite. Whoops.
I had to think fast on this one. He jumped out after I'd unhooked him, but I got him again.
Yeah, that's a much prettier fish, I think.
Female.
Yeah.
There were pods of fresh fish moving up through us all day. Sometimes there was 10 per pod. It made for a lot of action.
Yep.
We were surprised to see this many fish out in the open with this sunny of a day. Typically they hide under the brush to provide extra protection from predators. You can see on this fish that it's got a big tear in its back, likely from eagle narrowly missing a meal.
Yeah, it looks like a couple talon marks. Yep. Just trying to measure it real quick.
Fish on. Broken off. Woo! I don't need any help. I got a dolly or a little rainbow. Dolly.
We caught a couple dolly varden on this trip. Dolly varden are another anadromous fish here. They like to school up. We talked to one group and they said they had caught 50 or more in one day. You gotta be cognizant of where your line is. This is a nice move around that stick to prevent a break off, and you're rewarded with a jump. Most times it didn't take anything special, just a simple dead drift.
Yep.
The fish were always stacked up against these fallen down trees. Every single one of these is a good target to hit.
Oh yeah, you got a little pot of fish in here. Good job. There's like 8 fish right here.
I know.
Right there.
This being our last day on the Situk, it is definitely one to remember. Good weather and good fishing.
Yeah. It's a bigger one.
I know that last one was the biggest fish I had on
Yeah.
the whole trip.
I think so.
Sometimes they make a run right at you after the take, and they haven't earned the reel yet. I sometimes run right across the river to keep tension on the line. That tactic worked here.
Bingo.
I'm just letting go right now.
Yep. There he goes.
There we go.
Is that a good landing spot where you're at? That's where I'm bringing him. Yeah. Put on the show. Whoa. That hurt my hands. The reel spinning around with and the knob whacking the thumb.
Some people like to fish with a really light drag, especially when fishing for smaller species of fish. And when the fish runs, instead of the drag taking over, you cup the bottom of the reel with one of your hands. This slows the spool of line coming out of your reel. It's basically like a drag system, but you get to control it. You get immediate feedback when fighting something bigger, like a steelhead or a salmon, that you probably should rely on the drag. else you're gonna get whacked really hard by your reel, and it hurts a lot.
Whoa, there's a leak. This one's smaller. Nice jumper though. He's starting to look like he's getting ready. I'll run another run at him, but might get a crack at him here any minute.
Good.
Perfect.
Yep.
The bite at sunset was the best we'd seen it on the whole trip. It was a great way to end the last full day.
Nice.
We had a morning left before our flight, and we decided not to go steelheading. Instead, we took a couple mini adventures around town.
Cannon Beach, Surf, Alaska. Even got a lifeguard chair down there.